That is why I think that the twist at the end of the season, and I'm going to call this now, right, is going to be, that line, it hurts me so bad. And so you have to be really, really careful if you're in ministry not to allow that to happen. If Vanessa's really mad at me, which really never happens, because we're like a perfect couple and we've never had any fights ever, but... Welcome to Snipe Life, where we look at creativity through the lens of Christianity. And on this channel, we talk about a lot of different Christian subjects, including, but not limited to, The Chosen. And today, we're going to be talking about The Chosen, Season 3, Episode 6. One of the most packed episodes that we've ever gotten of The Chosen. The whole runtime of the episode is like an hour and 10 minutes, maybe. It's like really long. It's really, really great. But we get a lot of stuff packed into this, including a lot of side storylines and things that are being kind of set up for the finale of The Chosen, which we know is going to be in theaters. Really, really amazing. So the one that we're going to talk about today is Simon and Eden. Obviously, we've gotten a lot of build up into who Simon and Eden are during this season and what's kind of going on with their marriage and the miscarriage that Eden had in the last episode. But here we see a more and more of that development happening, including when Eden actually tells Simon of her miscarriage, which is a heartbreaking moment. But first, let's start with this scene right here, where we see the two of them having dinner, and Simon is really just trying to figure out what is going on, bro. So let's see what's going on here.
The soup's really good.
Thank you.
What's in it?
Carrots, vegetable stock, olive oil. You've had it before, Simon.
No.
Now, I do this all the time. Like, if Vanessa's really mad at me, which really never happens, because we're like a perfect couple and we've never had any fights ever. But if Vanessa's really mad at me, like, I'll start to have these conversations with her and try to get her on my side, and eventually I'll try to like get her to laugh. And then that's normally when we can get back into it and we can have real conversation and we can really get through whatever we're dealing with. And so I know what Simon's trying to do here. I totally get it.
But today, it's a beautiful thing. Fit for kings, this soup. And the bread. What's this on top?
You know what it is, Simon.
I can tell it's thyme and sesame seeds, but I've never seen this red spice before.
Sumac. Salome gave it to me.
It has almost like a tart, huh? A lemon sweetness.
He's so close. I remember when I first watched this, I was like, now all you got to do is make her laugh and you'll be good.
Huh? But not sweeter than you.
Simon, are you home?
And of course, the interruption. We get a small interruption of James and John coming in to talk about John's disciples. And then we get this small moment right after where Simon just says, no, I'm not going to go with you. It can be done in the morning.
See there? I can say no to work too.
And then she's gone. Now, this is a big issue that a lot of us saw, coming in the last episodes, was that Simon was really focused on his work, right, on the mission, and Eden wasn't telling him anything. So they were both kind of doing something wrong. They were both kind of, doing things that they weren't supposed to be doing. Simon was really supposed to be focused on his wife, and then the ministry comes afterwards, right? Pastors deal with this all the time, where they get in this mode where they're really, really, really focused on their ministry, and so they let their family suffer in that case. And so you have to be really, really careful if you're in ministry not to allow that to happen. But in this case, he's trying to prove like, oh, hey, like, see, I can say no to work. I can focus on you. But obviously she is gone and she's done with this conversation. She's running away, right? She doesn't want to deal with all this stuff. And she was about to have this conversation with him, but she decides against it and decides maybe I shouldn't do that right now. Then after everything that happens, we see Barnaby and Shula healed, all that stuff. We see as Simon comes home and he tries to have this conversation with Eden. He's super excited, but then we have this conversation here. Now, Eden's washing her hair here. Originally, I thought because her hair was wet, this was actually going to come after the mikvah scene that we see with her. But it turns out it's before that, because we see the mikvah scene in episodes 7 and 8, it looks like. So, I was kind of confused a little bit in the timeline of where this would be, but not a big deal. Yeah, Methodius, I would say, yes, you're right. You put God first and family second. However, you don't put ministry ahead of that. So ministry is different than God, 100%.
Eden! Where are you? Come here for a second. Do you remember Shula? Never mind, I'll tell you later. Anyway, so the guys ended up being Andrew's old friends.
So I used questions that only someone who truly knows Andrew would know. And it worked. Suddenly, Jesus was in the square healing all those people. And then he recognized John's disciple from somewhere. And they wanted to know if he was the real thing, which is crazy given everything they just seen.
I lost the baby.
What?
He has to be so confused, right? Like, he's like got to be mega confused.
You didn't know.
Say that again?
Our baby.
You were with child?
Oof.
You were gone when I found out.
No, this...
You were gone when I miscarried.
Were you working too hard?
No.
That line, it hurts me so bad. Like, I know he's in the moment and he's just like thinking about what's going on. He's trying to fix this situation, right? And he's like, what could have happened? Like, were you working too hard? But it's almost like he's blaming her. Like, when I first watched that, I was like, oh man, that's rough. That's a rough man. But it's something stupid, I would say, too. So, I don't know, man.
Oh. And that's not what causes these things.
Why didn't you tell me?
Because I didn't want to distract you. I didn't want to make you regret your choice, because what could be more important than... I thought that I could just keep it to myself. But I didn't know the hurt would go on so long.
Eden, this...
Yeah, she thought it would just be a small thing. So from our timeline, it seems like Eden could have only been like maybe a month pregnant, maybe. So she was not like super far along in her pregnancy. Obviously that doesn't change the hurt or anything, but it does give us sort of a timeline to kind of see what was going on. Because obviously they came home from the Sermon on the Mount. They got together. We saw that in episode 1. And then we saw immediately they got sent out 2 by 2, basically the next day, like, right? So she must have gotten pregnant from then. And then she was pregnant within like a month or so. She had that miscarriage within a few weeks, really. So the timeline, I would like to get some more clarity on that to see how long it was, because it doesn't seem like it's that long. And Simon actually gives us some more clarity on the timeline here as well.
This happened weeks ago.
See, I was right. Look how you're handling this.
Well, I have a right to grieve my own child.
I know. There's no right answer.
No, the right answer would have been to tell your husband.
Kinda true.
Are you mad that it happened, or that I didn't handle it the way you wanted?
I'm not mad.
You're furious. I can see it.
I'm furious. You were acting like I did something wrong. I had no idea what was going on. I was taking advice from a Roman. What did I do wrong?
You didn't do...
He's like, I didn't know. And the thing is, he didn't know what he didn't know, right? So it can't be his fault in a way, right? Like, how is he supposed to deal with that? How is he supposed to know, like, what's going on? But again, there's things that he did wrong through this whole situation as well.
Do anything.
You didn't do anything.
You did nothing. You asked nothing. You came home from being gone and you didn't even ask how I was. You didn't offer to help with anything. You just took a nap.
You told me to.
Yes, because I was being considerate of you. Because I was showing love to you while I was in pain, but I didn't know you would rush to bed and then have the boys over the next day.
You told me to take a nap. Am I supposed to read your mind?
True. We saw this comment, I think, more than any other comment on our channel during our last video about Simon and Eden. Everybody's like, is he supposed to read her mind? Like, that's a very fair point.
Well, you were happy to read my body.
Oof.
It might be nice for you to try to read my mind.
That's not fair, and you know that.
I know that's not fair. I know I wasn't always right. I know. I was a little distracted from losing my own...
Yep. And now they're both just broken, right? Like, they're done fighting. Like, it's not like you're right, I'm wrong. It's just a horrible situation, and they're both realizing that now.
You're upset I was on a mission.
You're putting words in my mouth.
Were they in your head?
Don't ask me that.
So now this is where the transition happens. This is actually the most important moment of Eden having this miscarriage altogether. Because as Eden goes through this, it's not actually about Eden. And I know that sounds weird to say, but in this fictional story that we're seeing, right? This is not a scriptural moment. This is meant for the story. So the story, yes, it is about Eden, but that is a secondary point. The main point is about Simon. Because this transition from Eden being broken to Simon being broken and beginning to have doubts and worries and struggles in his faith in Jesus and going in that, like, he's having struggles, not necessarily, like, so we saw from the trailer of episode 7 and 8, that it's not necessarily that he's having issues with his faith in Jesus, because he's seen Jesus do all of these amazing things and he knows that he has full faith in Jesus, but he's having second guesses and he's having doubts about himself, that Jesus chose the wrong person, that he is a mistake. And so he's really, really struggling with that, showing that he's not doing very well, right, when it comes to all of that. That is why, and we'll finish the rest of the scene in a second, but that is why I think that the twist at the end of the season, and I'm going to call this now, right, is going to be, see, again, that transition is happening. Eden's like, no, I didn't want to tell you this because I don't want you to be mad at Jesus. I don't want you to have these doubts. I don't want you to falter from your mission.
This is between us. It's not his problem.
Well, he's the Messiah. If it's not his problem, whose is it?
Who has control of this? If it wasn't your fault that you lost the baby, it wasn't my fault that we lost the baby, whose fault is it, right? Again, this is the questioning that a lot of people go through when they go through tragedy. It wasn't our fault, so whose fault is it? Well, God controls everything, so it has to be his fault. I'm angry at God, right? And so that's the thought process that a lot of people go through, and Simon's going through that right now.
You're the one comforting me.
I got a lot more time with it.
Yeah.
Why did it happen like this? I don't understand. Why?
You're asking the wrong person.
Yeah. Yeah. Oof. And his last words are just, why? And she says, you're asking the wrong person. Oof. And that's the end of episode 6. Man, rough. A rough ending for sure. Eden comforting him at the end. Like, I've been there where I'm just so broken and Vanessa's trying to comfort me and there's nothing that we can do, you know? It's just, that's where we are. And we have to accept that and we have to move forward, you know? And it's hard. Really, really, really hard. But what are you going to do? God is big enough to handle our questions and our anger. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, if you like this short part of our live stream, you can check out the full 5-hour live stream over on our Patreon at patreon.com/thesnipelife. This is literally the best way that you can help to support our ministry, and it really means a ton to us. You can contact us anytime through the chat on there, and you too could be like these amazing people that just joined our Patreon over the last few weeks. Thank you so much to all you amazing, amazing people, and thank you for supporting our ministry and what God has asked us to do.